Hello everyone, it's DFA, welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at the third part of the aircraft carrier guide, your number one choice from the last polls, how to deal with destroyers in an aircraft carrier. And so, just like the fighter's guide, it will be a 4-part series. The first one will be about scouting and spotting, the second one will be about anticipation, the third one will be about deception, it's going to be an interesting one, and the fourth part will be a gameplay where we combine, or we try to combine all these elements into one package. So let's get going and start with scouting and spotting. So yeah, scouting and spotting. There's only one DD on the enemy team, a tier 7 Akatsuki. It should not be too dangerous, right? Well, you can already guess how this is going to end up. It's the thing I keep repeating in every single CV video, and yet people do not seem to remember it, or they constantly forget about it. So I'll repeat again, once again, if you want to automatically increase your own win rate by playing CV, just keep destroyer spotted. It doesn't take any skill, you do not need to aim torpedoes, you just need to find them and keep them lit for your enemies. And your fighter is actually excellent to do that, and that is what I am doing here. It's the first lesson of the fighter's tutorial, the second part of the aircraft carrier guide, and I'm just repeating it here for you. Now I know where the DD is, I've done my job, and I can actually organize the rest of the engagement. That should be your priority at the beginning of every single game. Spot all the destroyers, tell your team where they are going. Because let's be honest, once they are spotted, they're only half dangerous and your team can very easily dodge their attacks. So here what I'm going to do is I know that the DD is somewhere on the bottom left part of the screen. I'm going to send my planes there because I do have a battleship with no cruiser protection. That guy is running away from his cruiser, and that's actually DD food, and that is actually, I don't like that. I don't want to see that happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find that DD again, and I am going to attack him because I cannot leave my battleship unprotected, or at least I should be able to spot him, because yeah, there you go, that's quite a wide formation and the DD is nowhere to be seen. So maybe he went back to his base. I'm going to go into that direction and hopefully we'll be able to find him. While I'm doing that, my fighters are taking care of the enemy fighters, and that's alright, we're doing quite well. And sure enough, we don't spot the DD, but we do spot another battleship, and we're going to attack him for lack of a better target. Now I cannot stress how important that is. You absolutely must keep destroyer spotted all the time during a game, simply because a destroyer that is spotted is only half as dangerous as an unspotted one. The battleships will be able to prepare themselves for the torpedoes that will be coming, if they come. The cruisers will be able to reposition themselves, and even your destroyers might actually be able to interfere with their actions. So destroyers absolutely do not like to be spotted. They thrive on concealment. And if you do that, I guarantee you, you will improve your win rate by quite a substantial margin. And speaking of which, we have completely lost track of the only destroyer in the enemy team. We could not find him on the bottom left part of the screen, we could not find him in the middle. There is one of our destroyers right in the center of the map, surely he must not be there. And we have a nice screen of vessels in front of us, so there is absolutely no way he would be able to squeeze somewhere there. So I'm thinking maybe he hugged the island to the bottom left and he actually trying to flank me from the left. Would be quite dangerous because there's a cruiser coming his way, and if I can spot him there, it's game over for him. So I'm immediately going to do that with my fighters. This is your preferred way of spotting destroyers, using your fighters, but I do not find him there. So where the fuck can he be? And it's basically what you see me doing for the entire gameplay. Trying to find him, and while I'm not successful in finding him, I'm basically attacking other targets, and I'm doing quite a lot of damage. But where could that guy possibly be? And I'm thinking here, I'm thinking about, I'm going to slow down and I'm going to turn back because something is wrong. It's not normal that I haven't spotted him yet. And I sense that something is really about to go wrong immediately soon. And I'm sending my fighters there. I'm saying, but he must be up, and fuck off. And there it is. And he appears right in front of me. I have no idea how he did that. But he did it, congratulations to him. It was an absolute master play from him. And yes, you can already guess what is going to happen, and this is why you absolutely have to keep destroyer spotted all the time. And I let you guess who won the game for them. That's that destroyer player. Congratulations, well done. And so, last time I will repeat it, you want to increase your win rate with CVs? Keep destroyer spotted all the time. Now let's move on and learn how to physically deal with them. So anticipation is all about anticipating the destroyer's movement, and that's quite a challenge because those ships are quite fast. Here, for example, we do have a Saipan versus a Sims. And you're going to do two things. The first one will be you're going to go wide, you are not going to send your planes directly at the target, and the second you will actually lead in a certain way. So you want your planes to be attacking the target directly, you put some distance and you lead. For example here, when it's 3 seconds, you start your attack run and you lead 3 times the size of your torpedo cone right ahead of the destroyer. You also do not want to drop your torpedoes too far. Here I did it a little bit too far. You do not want to drop them too close because otherwise if they turn they will actually evade your torpedoes. You do want to be a couple of millimeters right on top of the destroyer, and so we'll do it again. We are 3 seconds and we put the cone 3 times ahead of the target, and sure enough this time every single one will hit. You also want to lead a little bit in the direction that the destroyer is taking. And let's see that in action against Shimakaze. This is all footage I recorded while preparing for the Tai Oana Courier Guides. Those ships are excellent for hunting destroyers. And so immediately we're going to launch our torpedo bombers towards that Shimakaze who's heading right for us. And so again we go a little bit wider. We try to change direction around the 3-second mark and we aim about 2-3 times right in front of the Shimakaze because Haku's torpedo bombers are a little bit faster than the Saipans. And then the second squadron follows immediately, and that's how you take him out. Remember to add another torpedo cone for the second squadron because it's going to come about half or 1 second later than the first one. Now obviously destroyers are not always going to give you the nice pleasure of running straight at you in a straight line and letting you hit them, so usually they will start turning and twisting in every single direction, and that's when anticipating becomes really important. And so just as ever you absolutely want to anticipate their movements, trying to figure out what they're going to do, but what you do not want to do is, for example, change direction all the time. You do not want your planes to be twisting and turning. When this happens, just turn back and try approaching again with a more direct trajectory, because you want to really minimize the flight time of your planes. And here, for example, it's a little bit better. We should be able to put a couple of torpedoes into that turning Sims, because what is actually the most important here is you do not want to be wasting too much time piloting your torpedo bombers. It's better to land 2 torpedoes quickly than to wait 20 seconds and to land 3 or 4 of them, simply because while you are actually trying to, there you go, and do it again. So while you are trying to get your torpedoes on target and twisting and turning with your bombers, you are absolutely not managing your fighters. They're gonna get baited. You are not protecting your fleet. You are not paying attention to what's happening around you. And this is a very common mistake. So for example, what you want to be doing is this. Immediately setting yourself up for an attack in a straight line and trying to really minimize the flight time of your torpedo bombers. There you go, here good anticipation and all 4 torpedoes should hit, and that's a really nice strike. And so back to some gameplay footage with the Hakuryu. Here we are faced with the Republic and we see that one of our fleet mates is actually calling because the destroyer must be in his vicinity. So our torpedo bombers are reaching for that Republic and we are going to notice a Shimakaze that is actually being engaged by my team. And so we're immediately going to disengage the Republic and we're going to try anticipating the movement of that Shimakaze. We don't do it very well and that's alright. We're going to simply go back and we are going to try our luck again, and this time we're going to do a better job at anticipating. The first squadron will not be perfect, but that's alright. We don't need to land all torpedoes to finish it, but we want to be absolutely quick. And we give him a nice torpedo flower there and we end up taking him out. So in that kind of situation, speed is very important. You do not want to spend too much time focusing on the management of your torpedo bombers and you want to get back to the action as quickly as you can. Another situation that you must be able to recognize is when you spot a destroyer that is heading right for an island, because it's going to be a lot easier to anticipate its movement simply because that destroyer will be very restricted at some point. He will only be able to go left or right, and it is pretty obvious what he's going to do. It's going to turn left, run away from the danger, but unfortunately it does not run away fast enough and we are able to finish him. So when you spot a destroyer next to an island, it's time to attack because it will be very easy to anticipate its reactions. So spotting does not require any skill, anticipating does require a lot of practice to get it right. Destroyers also move at different speeds, turns at different speeds. That's something that experience will make you, actually will help you improve. And that is where deception comes into play, the most interesting part of the CV versus DD guide. Let's take a look at it right now. It's going to be interesting. So, deception, and we're back with the Hakuryu here, and it's a very simple concept. It's the concept of not letting destroyers know what you're going to do to them. So it doesn't take a return button, instead you want to use your brain and your map awareness, and you basically want to engage destroyers where they least expected. So it doesn't take a lot of skill, instead what you need to do is to look at the minimap. Instead you need to figure out what the destroyer is thinking and where he's looking, and you basically punch him from the other side. So you do not let them know that you're coming, basically. And that is one of the reasons why you will seldom see me engage destroyers with bombers, because it sends a really nice "Hey, I'm coming for you" message. And that is what you want to avoid if you want to make your life simple with them. So basically you do not want to let them know that you're coming from them. Here, for example, we do have a Shimakaze coming for my team. And you know that he's going to be looking at the left, he's engaging my team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply come from behind, from the right where he's not looking, and we're going to take him out very easily. Simply because it's not paying attention, so it makes your life very simple indeed. When he notices it's a little bit too late, and there you go, bye Shimakaze. So all this takes is map awareness. You really need to see where the destroyer is going, what he's thinking, and you are going to basically attack him from the other direction, or you are going to make him give him a nice surprise. But let's take a look at other examples. Alright, deception number 2, we've taken care of the enemy fighters, that's good. We do have a clear sky for us, and we have 3 destroyers on the enemy team, and we do have a Kagero here and a Benham, I think, right next to it. So we're not going to be sending our bombers right to him, because we do not want to let him know we're coming. Instead we are going to pretend that we are focusing on the Benham. And so that's a very common deception technique. You focus on a target that is next to the destroyer. He thinks that you're not going to be very interested in him, and instead at the last moment you turn around and you finish him. So here, for example, we're still going for that Benham, and let's wait until that Kairo comes out. And sure enough, there you go, anticipating its movement up, we are sending a nice flower towards him, and he will go down very easily. There you go. He was looking to his left, and we came from the right at the last minute. That's a very common deception technique. And so here we've spotted a cruiser and Azuma coming to the left. We're going to engage him with everything we have, because it's pretty much isolated. But yeah, we're going to change our IDs at the last moment, because again, remember, you do not want to let the destroyers know that you're actually coming for them. You want to make your life as easy as you can. So the first torpedo squadron will actually be going for the Azuma. But the second one I will redirect at the last minute, and here we're a bit lucky because the first one is still hitting that Shugmu, but the second one will take half of his life away, and that is very good. That's what you want to keep doing, and since we're super lucky, the torpedoes hit the cruiser as well. So it's all about hiding your intentions to make your life easier. If you let them know that you're coming from them, obviously they will start dodging, and it will take you a lot more time to be hitting them. So please make your life as easy as you can by deceiving them. And final example, something a little bit different. We do notice Yugumo that's actually trying to run away from the team. He's been badly hurt in a previous wave of planes, and it's going to escape. Since we only need a couple of torpedoes to take him down, what we're going to do is we're going to lay a nice field on its left with the first squadron, and we're going to leave him with 2 choices. Either you avoid the ones on the left, or you avoid the ones that are coming to the right, and as you see, we don't even need to activate it. So it's called cross-torping, something that you can actually use when you need to kill a destroyer that's running away from you, that's pretty low on health, say for example 2 torpedoes, and it works very well. So time for some gameplay. We're using the Saipan, and we will be trying to apply all the concepts all together. Immediately we start with spotting, starting 1 squadron to the left. We do have 2 DDs on the enemy team. Number 1 is spotted. Let's see if we can find the second one on the right. So there is a Kaga on the enemy team. We want to keep our fighter squadrons as close as we can to the action, and sure enough we do have the second one spotted at Swaru, and we're going to attack him. We're going to be sending our torpedo bombers a little bit wider. But unfortunately not wide enough. We did not give them enough time to actually lead their turn, and they waste precious seconds, and that gives the Atsuaru the time to evade. So we do manage to take half of his life away, but still we do have a little bit of work on this one. So don't be afraid to go very wide when attacking a destroyer, because you really want your planes to be coming straight at them, usually perpendicular to their trajectory, and that will minimize the flight time, make it a lot harder for them to dodge. Here we were simply not wide enough. Our fighter squadron to the left was actually keeping the destroyer spotted, but we have to remove him because the Kaga is launching its planes, and luckily for me it does not seem to be launching all of its squadrons, so that's a pretty junior Kaga player there. And we are able to take him out very easily, but unfortunately we did leave the destroyer on the left part of the screen completely unspotted, and we are going to rectify that with one of our torpedo bomber squadrons. Ideally you do that with your fighters, but since they're already engaged on the other part of the map, we're going to go left with them and see what we can do to that destroyer. And so our torpedo bombers are leaving to the left while our fighters are protecting the fleet to the right. We do spot the battleship, so we're probably going to be engaging him for a lack of a better target, but maybe we can spot the DD in the meantime, and sure enough the Akatsuki appear. So deception, I'm leaving the first squadron to engage him, but while he's thinking that he's probably safe, the second one is actually turning towards him, and we do manage to lead him very nicely, hit him with 4 torpedoes and flooding him. And while we were doing that, we've also spotted the other destroyer coming towards the center of the map. He's actually trying to hug one of the islands there, and that's a very good situation for us. That's something that we want to keep an eye out for, because it will put us in a very advantageous position to engage him. So let's see if we can find him again as soon as we've taken care of that torpedo squadron. Immediately we're going to go there because we want to keep him spotted. We're actually going to spot the first one as well on the left. And sure enough, we spot him next to that island, and that's only... well, there you go, he's engaged, so he's going to have a hard time avoiding us. Let's get started. And so, as usual, I'm going to leave one of my fighter squadrons there. I do not need to scout with 2 squadrons. That will also help me. It's going to be on the right part of the screen if the Kaga decides to attack. And while I'm doing that, I'm actually going a lot wider with my torpedo bombers. I'm leaving him under the impression that I'm going for another target. And there you go, we anticipate its movement. He can only go into one direction, and it's going to be a very easy finish. And sure enough, bye-bye, that's one of them. But unfortunately, while we were busy with DD number 2, we forgot DD number 1 on the left part of the screen, who is actually hiding again. We had to recall one of our fighter squadron, keeping him spotted there from, well, basically from disappearing, because he was almost finished, the fighter squadron. And so yes, immediately we're going to send him back there. We anticipate that the destroyer must have closed in on the base, but that's not a very good thing to do, because it's right in front of an Italian cruiser, and if we can manage to spot him there, it's going to go down very quickly, because we left him pretty low on health. So we do send the fighters in the direction of the base, we do send the torpedo bombers in the direction of the battleships and cruisers that are a little bit to the north, and sure enough the DD gets lit right in front of the Zara. I'm going to leave my fighter squadron on top of the Zara, but I will not be, I will not need to engage these 1 with torpedoes. Keep in mind that hunting destroyers is a team sport. It is also the primary function of your cruisers, and so if you can spot destroyers right in front of your cruisers, you are making your life a lot easier indeed. And so there you go, the 2 destroyers are out. We have taken one of them, and we have actually helped our team quite a lot to take down the other 2. Very good job. Now we should be cruising towards a very easy win. It's one of the reasons why you do want to take away destroyers. You should not prioritize them immediately. If you have, for example, a battleship closing in on your team, trying to cap, etc., then that's the target you're going to go for, but those are certainly on top of the hit list, I would say it this way. Another important thing is that you notice that we haven't used the return button a single time during this gameplay, because simply we do not need it if we anticipate correctly. If we deceive the destroyers, if we keep them spotted, our team is going to take care of them as well. So it's really a combination of those 3 elements that will help you succeed in fighting destroyers. And to be honest, I'm not particularly worried about the CV return button nerf. I'm not even going to call it a nerf because it's an exploit of the game. I'm going to call it a correction. This footage was recorded before that update, but this video you will probably see it after the update, and you see that it did not have any major and will not have any major impact on our gameplay. One of the important elements to remember is that you are part of a team and you are there to help your team take out destroyers as well. It's not only about your job, cruisers are there as well to help, and so that's basically what you want to take away from this guide. There are a couple of things that you can do to make your lives easier, but remember, it's a team game and you will all succeed if you work together towards aiming and taking out those destroyers. And so here we are, cruising towards a very easy win. Our DD on the other side of the map is capping. That's very good indeed. And that's the end of the CV versus Destroyers guide. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you'll learn a couple of very interesting things. It surely was a complicated one to make, pretty long, lots of footage to combine, but at least it will give you a couple of elements to incorporate into your playbook. And now, just go and take them out. Stay safe, take care, that was DeathFromAbove, signing out, bye bye!